The Varelians were not a people of war. They moved through the stars like quiet watchers, unseen and unknown to most other species. Their ships were soft lights in the dark, made to hide, not to fight. They watched, they learned, and they stayed, far from danger. On this day, a small probe drifted near a strange new star system. It was not alone. 3 others like it floated in silence, each watching from afar. The Varelians had seen this system before, but now they noticed something new. A metal shape rose from the third planet's sky. It was huge, longer than any of their own ships, with sharp edges and glowing lines. It did not move like theirs either. It climbed fast without sound, leaving fire behind. Lyra, a young observer back on the homeworld, felt the data stream reach her mind. She saw what the probe saw. Her heart beat faster. "This is different," she said softly. Others in the control chamber turned to her. They all felt the same thing. Surprise, yes, but also something else. Fear. The ship, called the USS Liberty, kept rising. Weapons sat on its sides like claws. Power pulsed inside it. The probe could feel it even from far away. "It is armed," another watcher said. "And ready," Lyra whispered. No Varelian had ever seen a human up close. Earth was far from known space, hidden by distance and time. But now, for the first time, they saw what humans had built. "Should we move closer?" someone asked. "No," came the reply. "We watch, nothing more." Lyra kept her focus on the ship. It stopped rising and hovered above the planet. Then, suddenly, it fired. A flash lit up space. A round flew out so fast it vanished before the eye could follow. It hit a target far away, and the impact shook the void. The Varelians felt it. Even from light years away, they felt the force. Silence filled the chamber. "They can do that from orbit?" someone asked. "Yes," Lyra said, voice low. "And maybe more." She looked at the data again. The ship was strong. The weapon was stronger. But what scared her most was not the tech. It was the ease. Humans used this power like it was normal, like it was nothing. "What are they?" she asked no one. No one answered. Back on Earth, Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of the Liberty. He watched the display as the test shot hit its mark. "Good work," he said. His crew nodded. They had no idea they were being watched, but far away in the silent dark, the Varelians began to worry. They had seen many things across the stars, but never something like this. Lyra could not stop looking at the data. The image of the USS Liberty firing its weapon stayed in her mind like a scar. She had seen other species use power before, but never with such ease. Never with such speed. Back on Earth, Captain Daniel Hayes walked through the halls of his ship. He was a man used to silence and space. He liked order, and the Liberty ran like a clock because of it. Today they were running training drills. "Target locked," a voice said over the comms. "Fire when ready," Hayes replied. The ship shuddered slightly as another round shot out. Far away, a floating target made of old satellite parts exploded into dust. On the Varelian homeworld, Lyra watched everything. Their probe had picked up the signal, and now the images played in her mind like dreams. "They are testing again," she said. Her mentor, an older watcher named Kyle, looked at her. "Do you think they know we are watching?" "No," she said. "But they should." Kale did not answer. He only watched as more data came in. Videos, sounds, strange human messages. Some were speeches by leaders on Earth. Others were news clips showing battles on land and sea. "They fight often," Kale said. "Always," Lyra replied. She reached deeper into the stream of data. She found something new, a message from a human soldier. It was old, but clear. "We don't start wars to win. We finish them fast so fewer die." Lyra felt a chill. This was not just violence. It was planning, thinking, control. "They see war like a tool," she whispered. "Like fire," Kyle said. "Useful, but dangerous." A warning bell rang in the chamber. The probe near Earth had sent a new alert. Something big was happening. The Liberty had launched a new kind of weapon. It moved faster than anything they had seen before. It struck, with no sound, no warning. The impact lit up the sky. Lyra gasped. The energy wave reached the probe and almost knocked it offline. This is not normal, she said. Others in the room began to panic. Voices filled the air. Should we warn the others? Yes, Kyle said. Now. Lyra opened a channel to the council. She sent everything. The video, the readings, the words. We were wrong, she said. They are not just strong. She paused. They are dangerous. Far away, on the Liberty, Hayes stood alone on the observation deck. He looked out at the stars, not knowing that across the void a race had just decided to fear him. He thought about the test, the shot, the power under his command. Ready for what's next, he said softly. And somewhere in the dark, the Varelians began to run. The message spread fast through the Varelian network. It moved from world to world, carried by silent signals and deep space relays. All across their space, watchers paused what they were doing and read the warning. A new species has appeared. They are strong, they are fast, and they do not fear war. On the homeworld, Lyra stood before the council. She was young, but her voice was clear. We must understand them, she said, before we decide what they are to us. Some on the council agreed. Others did not. They have already shown us what they are, one elder said. Danger. Lyra shook her head. No, they have shown us power. But power can be used many ways. She reached into the data stream again. She pulled up more clips, not just battles, but speeches, songs, stories. Humans laughing, building, helping. They are not like the Tharnak, she said. They are not only warriors. But then she showed them something else. Old wars, fought with fire and metal. Cities turned to ash, people crying over loss. But they could become that, she whispered. Silence filled the chamber. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Captain Daniel Hayes sat in his quarters aboard the USS Liberty. He had just received new orders. First contact training. He was being sent deeper into space. His mission was clear. Learn about other life. Make peaceful contact. Avoid conflict. He read the words again, then leaned back. Easier said than done, he muttered. He looked at a photo on his desk. It showed him years ago standing next to soldiers who were now gone. War had taken them. He closed the folder. Hope, we don't mess this up, he said. Back on the Varelian homeworld, the council made a choice. They would not run. Not yet. But they would not reveal themselves either. Instead, they sent out more probes, more watchers. They wanted to know more about these humans, not just what they could do, but why they did it. Lyra was placed in charge of the study. As she watched the stars, she thought of the humans below. You are strange, she said softly. You build peace with weapons. You speak hope while preparing for war. She closed her eyes. I need to know which one you truly are. And far away, in the cold dark of space, the Varelians kept watching. Not as friends. Not yet. But not as enemies either, just watchers. Waiting. The warning spread like fire through the stars. From the Varelians to their allies, the message was clear. Humans were not just explorers. They were something else. Something dangerous. In the cold dark between worlds, other species listened. One of them was the Tharnak. They were tall, covered in thick armor-like skin, and built for war. They ruled many systems with strength and order. They had fought many enemies and never lost. Until now. A human survey fleet had entered unclaimed space near Tharnak borders. The humans called it a peaceful mission. They sent signals of friendship. They offered trade. But the Tharnak saw something else. They saw ships that could strike fast. Weapons that could destroy without warning. And worst of all, no fear. To the Tharnak, fear was a sign of respect. And the humans showed none. So they attacked. It was quick. The Tharnak ships charged forward, claws ready, guns firing. They expected a battle. What they got was a lesson. The human ships moved faster than expected. Their weapons hit harder. In less than an hour, the Tharnak force was broken. Some ships fled. Others burned. On Earth, news of the fight reached the public. The media called it a victory. People cheered. Leaders spoke of strength and safety. No one thought about what it meant beyond their own world. Far away, Lyra watched the reports. Come in. She sat in the quiet of the watcher's chamber, her mind full of fear. This is worse than I thought, she said. Her mentor, Kale, stood beside her. The Tharnak are strong, he said. If they fell so fast, Lyra nodded. Then we are not ready, she whispered. She looked at the data again. Videos, sounds, messages. She saw how the humans talked about the fight, not as a mistake, not as a tragedy, as a win. She closed her eyes. They do not know what they are to us, she said. To everyone. Kale placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we must make sure they learn, he said. Meanwhile, Captain Daniel Hayes read the same report. He sat on the bridge of the U.S. Liberty looking at the numbers. Good work, he said to his crew. He believed in peace, but he also believed in being ready. We can't afford to be weak out here, he told himself. But somewhere in the back of his mind, a small voice asked, what happens when others see us not as friends, but as danger? And far away in the silent dark, more eyes were watching, more minds were thinking, and more species were starting to fear the rise of humanity. Across the stars, the name human was now spoken with caution. Not as a myth or rumor, but as something real. Something to watch. The Varelians were not the only ones who had seen what humans could do. Other species had watched from afar, hiding in the dark. Some had even tried to send quiet messages, soft signals meant to feel out if humans were friendly. But humans always answered with weapons. On Earth, none of this was known. Leaders saw victories. Scientists saw progress. Soldiers saw readiness. No one thought about how they looked to others. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty. He was preparing for a new mission. This time he would lead a test fleet equipped with the latest tech. Drone ships that could fight without pilots, and quantum relays that could talk across space faster than light. We're pushing forward, he told his crew. They nodded. They believed in progress. They believed in strength. What they didn't know was that far away in deep space others were watching again. Lyra sat among the watchers. She had spent months studying humans, their history, their words, their wars. She had learned more than any of her kind, and what she had learned scared her. They don't see themselves the way we do, she said to Kale. He looked at her. How do they see themselves? As heroes, she whispered. Kale frowned. Even when they destroy? Especially then. A silence passed between them. Then Lyra showed him a new report. It came from a distant border world. Another species had made contact with humans. It had not gone well. The humans had arrived with ships and offers of peace. But when they were questioned, they raised shields and locked weapons. The other side had backed down. They are always ready to fight, Kyle said. Yes, Lyra replied, but they don't know why. She looked at the data again. They think they are explorers, but to us they look like conquerors. Kale turned away. Then we must decide what to do. Lyra closed her eyes. No, she said. First, we must understand them. Meanwhile, back on the Liberty, Hayes reviewed the same event. Standard procedure, he muttered. Better safe than sorry. But for the first time, he hesitated. Just for a second. Was every move they made being watched? Was every show of force being counted? And if so, what would the galaxy do about it? The USS Liberty drifted near a broken space station. It was old, silent, and covered in dust from years of floating alone. No life signs, just metal and ghosts. Captain. Daniel Hayes walked through its halls with a small team. The place had been abandoned for decades, but something strange had drawn them here. A signal. faint, repeating, not like anything they had seen before. Maggie Carter, the ship's linguist, scanned the walls. She was used to translating alien codes, but this was different. The writing wasn't just foreign, it felt warning. "This isn't random," she said. Hayes looked over her shoulder. "What does it say?" She pointed at one line carved deep into the wall. "They watch us, because they fear what we might become." A cold silence filled the room. Meanwhile, far away, Lyra sat in the Watcher's chamber on the Varelian homeworld. She had seen the humans reach the station. She had seen them read the message. And now she waited. Her people had left that message long ago, hoping someone would find it. Maybe not humans. Anyone. A way to speak without speaking. But now it had been found. By the wrong ones. Cale stood beside her. "Do you think they will understand?" he asked. "I don't know," Lyra replied. "Maybe some will. Most won't." She looked at the data stream again. The humans were sending reports back to Earth. The message was being studied, shared, questioned. "They are curious," she said. "But curiosity doesn't always lead to peace." Then another report came in. The humans had found more than just the message. They had found a signal, a hidden one, buried in the station's core. It was a map, not of stars, of watchers. Lyra's heart pounded. "They're following it," she whispered. Cale turned to her. "Should we stop them?" "We can't," she said. "Not yet." She looked toward the stars. Maybe this is how it has to start. Not with war, but with questions. Back on the Liberty, Hayes stared at the screen. The map showed points across space, all leading outward. Someone had been watching them. For a long time. He closed the file and looked out the window. "We're not alone," he said softly. And in the dark, Lyra watched him move forward, step by step, toward a truth no one was ready for. The USS Liberty followed the map through deep space. Each jump brought them closer to something unknown. Captain Daniel Hayes kept his crew alert. They didn't know what they were chasing. A message? A warning? Or something more? Back on Earth, the signal from the station had caused debate. Some called it a hoax. Others saw it as proof that humans were not alone. Hayes didn't care about politics. He wanted answers. Maggie Carter sat in the research bay, going over the data again and again. She found more messages hidden in old signals, not just from the station but from other places too, all saying the same thing. "They are watching us." Meanwhile, Lyra stood on the edge of the Watcher's chamber. She could feel the humans getting closer, not just in space but in thought. They were starting to understand. "Do you think they will stop?" asked Janai, a younger Watcher. Lyra shook her head. "No," she said. "They never do." Janai looked toward the stars. "Then maybe we should talk to them." Lyra turned to her. "You still believe in peace?" "Yes," Janai said. "Don't you?" Lyra did not answer right away. She had seen too much. Heard too many reports. Humans moved fast, struck hard, and believed in their own strength. But she also saw hope. She saw how some humans talked about unity, about learning, about doing better. "I want to," she finally said, "but I fear what comes next." Cale joined them. "Then we must be ready," he said. Back on the Liberty, Hayes stood on the bridge. The latest report was clear. The signal came from deep space, not from one place, but many. "We're being watched," he said. His crew fell silent. "By who?" someone asked. Hayes looked out into the dark. "I don't know," he said, "but they've been watching us for a long time." He thought of all the weapons tests, the battles, the way humans always seemed ready to fight. What if someone out there saw that and feared it? Maggie walked in with a new file. "Sir," she said, "I think they left this for us." It was a message. Not a threat, not a greeting, just a question. "Do you know what you are to us?" Hayes read it again. Then he looked into the void and whispered, "No, but maybe it's time we found out." And far away, Lyra watched him move forward, not knowing if what came next would be peace or war.